So here is the reduced pattern, the reducing pattern, or the folding pattern. This is it. This is the entire thing, but it's very powerful. So remember we said the reduced pattern takes 3 arguments: the folding function, the list you want to process, and the initial value of the argument, of the accumulator, sorry. So here I'm going to try and draw a picture similar to the other one. So this is called the folding pattern, or the accumulator pattern, or the reducing pattern. Let's just call it folding because that's the way we're going to call it. Actually, no, we're going to call it reduce. So let's call it both reducing and folding. So in the FP is going to be called reduce, that function right here. So everybody understand, you start with a list, you start with a folding function. This is the hardest part for students to get their head around. I'm going to explain what the folding function is, but that's the function that you apply at every step on each element to the accumulator and to each element of the list to get the new value of the accumulator. So the pattern looks like, if the list is empty, you're done processing the list, return the final value of the accumulator. Otherwise, what do? Well, you're first going to apply the folding function to the current value of the accumulator and the head of the list. That gives you a new value of the accumulator, which you're going to pass in to a recursive call of reduce with the same folding function and with the tail of the list, because we've already just processed the head. This is it. So instead of implementing this recursive case here and this recursive case here, we're going to abstract it away. And notice this does exactly the same as those 2 functions above, except you have to pass in one of those one of those functions f as a folding function. So in case you don't see that this does exactly what the folding pattern or the reducing pattern, let me draw this picture again that I showed before, but let me be more formal. So remember, you're starting with the list E0, E1, E2, ... En minus 1, right? And you're starting with the initial value of the accumulator, ACK. Everybody with me? And so what does this function do? It says, okay, the first thing you do is you're going to apply F to the accumulator and the first element of the list. So here I'm going to move this closer because I'm going to apply F to the accumulator and the first element. Now, everybody with me so far? So this corresponds to applying F to get a new value based on those 2. Yes? I'm just writing it in a more mathematical or formal way, like using function notation instead of arrows. Okay, what is this going to be then? This is the new value of the accumulator. I'm going to call it A0 because it's the result of processing E0. Does that make sense? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a recursive call on the tail, which means the next element I'm going to look at is this one, and I'm going to apply the F function to that new value in E1. And that will give me a new accumulator value called EA1, right? Let me make this a little bit cleaner here. And so on and so forth. So this function, when you apply F to A0 and E1 to get A1, is the same as this. You apply that function to A0 and E1 to get this. And then, so this is A1. And so now you're going to apply the same function to A1 and E2. And that's going to give you A2, and so on and so forth. So ... until eventually you're going to apply this thing to En minus 1, and you'll get An minus 1, and that will be the final value. So this is kind of a complicated picture, but this is the folding pattern right there. It takes a list and an accumulator, and then... So another way to write this in one line, so it's not all spread out like this, is I'm going to do it again. Notice the accumulator goes first. That's very important. Notice the accumulator is always the first argument of the folding function. So it goes first. The second argument is whatever element of the list you're currently processing. Everybody with me? That's the first step. Second step is you're going to take all of this and you're going to apply to it. You can apply f to this that we just got and the first and the second element. And then we're going to do it again. That's the recursive call. We apply f to the new value of the accumulator to the next element. So make sure the parentheses match. And then you keep going, dot, 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 which means here you're going to have dot, dot, dot. And eventually you're going to apply f to the last one. So this is really the folding pattern right there in one line, if you wish. It takes three elements, the initial value of the accumulator, it takes a folding function, and it takes a list, which is right here. Notice the list is kind of like right here. And it's nested that way. So you see the folding happens until you're down to one element, a of n minus 1. This is folding right here, or reducing. Okay. It will take a while to get used to it, for most of you anyway. So the first thing I want to mention is, now some of you get it quickly, you're lucky, because this is not an easy pattern. So I'm going to give a couple examples and then we'll be done for today, and then you'll do some more in the assignment 4. So I'm not going to look at this code in too much detail, but notice now we can write this sum function as a one-liner that's not recursive. Remember, the sum is a function that takes a list, and you will return whatever you get by reducing this list with the add function as the folding function and the accumulator of 0. So just remember the order is the folding function goes first when you call reduce, then the list, then the accumulator. That's always going to be the case in our module. And similarly, if you want to do the counting function, the count, you're going to say, well, it takes an integer and a list, and it's going to return whatever reduce returns by processing the list with an accumulator of 0 and a folding function of this one. And again, I'm using this ternary operator here, but you should use an if then else. And of course, when you apply these new versions, you get the same output. But notice it's much shorter. These definitions are much shorter than these, and they are not recursive because the recursion is hidden inside the reduce pattern, which is exactly as it should be. It's not that recursion is bad. It's just that, do you want to write recursive functions every time? Well, maybe it's nice to take a break. Just write, a one-liner like this. So one last question before we wrap up this segment. Notice how I specify the NS here. Couldn't I just do the same I did before? Like, notice here in that example, in that other pattern, I was like, yeah, we don't need the NS, just curry the filter and then you're done. So why am I not doing that here? There's a good reason for not doing an extra line when I get rid of this NS here. In other words, I'm not currying the reduce. So why am I not doing that? Basically because I can't right now. And why can't I? Why can I do fp.curry of reduce to get rid of this thing here? Well, just remember, curry was defined as the way we defined it last time. It takes a function of 2 arguments and curries it. But reduce is a function of 3 arguments, so we can't run it through that curry function. We would have to write a curry that takes 3 arguments. It's easy to do, and you should know how to do it, but you have to use a different version of curry that curries a 3-argument function. So this is why we can't do that here. Think about it. That's just a homework problem to think about. Write a 3-argument curry function and then use it to do this, but that's not required. What's important here is that you understand the pattern. So the folding pattern is this. And the main thing to remember is that you have to give a function f that takes 2 arguments, where the first one is always going to be the accumulator. Just remember that. Otherwise, it's going to break. If you swap the order of these arguments, something's going to go wrong, most likely. You're going to get the wrong result or it's going to crash. So in the folding pattern, the accumulator is on the left. Just remember, this is folding on the left. Why is it called folding on the left? Because the accumulator is always first. It's always on the left of the elements. In fact, if you look at the pattern, the accumulator is on the left of the list. That's why I put it here. So just remember, next time we'll do another version of folding that's on the right. But for now, this is the folding on the left. Whenever we say folding, we mean on the left by default. I want you to test your understanding of folding by applying it to a couple of these, and you'll do the other ones at home. So this is just a practice problem, right? First of all, remember the factorial function? That's the product of n times n minus 1. This one, I'm giving it to you. Remember how we did a recursive version? If n is equal to 0, returns 1. Otherwise, we do a recursive call n times factorial of n minus 1. Well, it turns out you don't need that recursion. You can just recursively, you can reduce the number n. Now notice in this case, n is not even a list, but you can think of it as reducing something. So here, look at this implementation. This is a one-liner implementation of factorial that is not recursive. And it uses that fill-in function. Remember the fill-in function that you have to do in your assignment? If you give it 1, it will return the list 1, 2, 3, all the way to n if you give it 1 and n. And so what this is doing, it's folding this function, right? Reduce using that list rather. And what's the folding function? It's just multiplication. And what's the initial value of the accumulator? It's 1. Think of it as you put a 1 here, and then you multiply 1 by 1. And whatever value you get, you multiply that by 2. And whatever value you get, you multiply that by 3. This is why you can implement factorial as a folding, not of n, right? You can't fold n because n is an integer. But you can fold the list from 1 to n. And this is given right here by this function we have. I hope you appreciate. I know some of you will not like functional programming, and I hope that's not the case for you. You're going to get to learn and understand it. But this is a very nice one-liner, non-recursive definition of factorial, because the recursion is hidden in here and in here. Everybody okay with that definition of factorial? That's kind of a new way to do it for you, maybe? Okay, let's do, I want to make sure we have 4 minutes. Someone should give me the answer to this. So I want to define the length function. It takes a list, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and returns 5 because that's the length of the list. How many elements? Could you do it recursively? Sure, you can. If the list is empty, return 0, right? If the list is not empty, process every element and do something with it. So instead of sum, where you add the elements to the accumulator, what do you want to add instead to the accumulator if you're trying to compute the length of the list? What is going to be the folding function? Are you going to be adding 1 to 0 and then 2 to that and 3 to that? No, that would be computing the sum. But you can do something very similar to compute the length. So what should the folding function be? Remember, the folding function is the first argument here. Anyone? Let's try to get this done before we end the class, so I know that you can do one on your own.
If the element is greater than 0, and then accumulate 1. If not, accumulate 0.
Oh wait, yeah, you're close, but we're not doing the counting the positives, right? It's even simpler. I'm just saying compute the length of the list. So we don't even need to care to check what the values are. We just want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're not doing the positives here. We're just doing counting. So it's even easier. So let's write the solution here. Someone else or anybody who wants to follow up. What's the first question mark? What's the second? What's the third? And by the way, some of them are easier than others. So who could tell me what the middle question mark is? That's much easier, I hope. What's the second argument of reduce? That's the list you want to process. So what's the second question mark?
The NS.
Right, it's just NS. Everybody okay with that? So that's the answer to this one, right? Second question mark is NS. What would be the initial value of the accumulator? First of all, what's the type of the data type of the accumulator?
An integer.
It's an integer because the function returns an integer. That's what you need to remember. And what's the initial value of the counter then? What's the
0.
obvious one? 0, because before you start processing, you haven't seen anything. So who can tell me what this function, the folding function is? Once you understand, you're processing this list with an accumulator of 0. It's a function that does what? Remember, it's a function of two arguments, right? It's a function that takes the accumulator and then some element EI, right? Whatever element you're in. So what does that function do?
We're just trying to add 1 to the accumulator.
Exactly. Do we have a function that adds 1? Maybe not. Well, let's just write it up. It's the function of n that returns fp.add of a and 1. Right? This is the function, oh, sorry, not a, n. I know it's going to be the accumulator, but in the function here, I call it n. Everybody understand this is the add 1 function. Nothing special here. Why is the accumulator the add 1 function? Because you're going to take the accumulator 0 and add 1 to it. So you get 1. That's going to give you the new value, 1, and then you're going to add 1 again. Notice, that function, sorry, it has to be a function of two arguments, right? This is a big mistake I almost made here. It's a function of two arguments. So it takes the accumulator and some element e. And what it does, it just adds 1 to the accumulator, but it completely ignores the element because it doesn't matter what the element is. Okay, time is up. Who doesn't? So anybody has a question about the way to implement the length function in a non-recursive way, or at least non-explicitly recursive, by using the folding pattern? You're going to fold this list into a single integer, which is the length of it. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, make sure you do those two at home and ask me questions on Friday at the beginning if you have trouble doing those.